Organizing should not feel like a job. And today we're talking about how to get to a place where it doesn't, because there is a version of you where being a choosy organizer is just how you are. It's your natural default. You stop scheduling organizing, you stop dreading it, you stop putting that on your to-do list. It just happens because you're clear about what your home and your things are really for. And what is your home for exactly? Is it about having a space where you, your kids, and your partner want to hang out, where you're really maximizing the time you enjoy together while you're home? Is it about being connected socially to your friends and your neighbors and your family, your community, and being able to invite people over casually and often without it being this big production? Is it about having a home that supports a bigger goal, like being able to travel with your family as much as possible? So the less time you have to spend managing your home and your stuff, the better. Or maybe you need your home to be your launch pad. It supports getting you ready for work. It gets the kids out the door for school. And it makes meal making and laundry happen as quickly and as drama-free as possible. That's the whole point. Or, and this is completely valid, is your home your entertaining stage? Like you love hosting dinner parties, you care about how things look, and photo worthy is the standard you're going for. Well then, a real show home is what you would tend to have. Any combination of these is fine too. There's no wrong answer here. But here's what I found after years of working in people's homes and in my own too. If any of those things is really what you want your home life to be about, and you can be pretty clear about that to yourself and to your family, then random things collecting in your closets and cabinets and garage and attic are not getting you closer to any of that. They're actually in the way. And when you're clear on what your home is for, then the decisions aren't decisions anymore. You know what I mean? You just seem to know what to do with whatever. You develop what I call a natural choosy filter. It becomes part of how you move through your days. You stop thinking, oh, I need to organize the closet or I need to tackle the toys. You just start making small intuitive decisions in the course of daily life, and your home takes care of itself. I explained this way of thinking to my husband and my kids at some point, and I watched each of them develop their own version of it, their own choosy organizer filters that fit what their lives are about. And yeah, it's different from mine. And I'm confident that my kids will carry this with them for the rest of their lives. So if that's something that you want for yourself and your family, then stay with me. I'm going to share some specific practical ideas for how to develop that natural choosy organizer life. So organizing isn't something that you have to do anymore. It's just something that happens because you're clear about the true purpose of your home and what your things are really for. This is episode 106, and today we're talking about something I hear a lot. How do you actually get to the point where being organized feels natural, where it's not this ongoing job or project that lives on your to-do list forever, where it's just how you live? I want to start the answer to that by telling you something about the name of this podcast. So you know the name is Organizing for Beautiful Living. And this wasn't a name that I just picked out randomly or had AI come up with or anything like that. No, the name really does embody the philosophy that I live my life with, or I attempt to every day. I thought about what kind of life I want to live. And beautiful living was the phrase that said to me, a life that's rich with connection to other people, with learning every day, with curiosity, healthy food, time to be able to explore whatever I feel like exploring at any point in my life, rich with a healthy body that will carry me through future stages of my life, right? And so I distilled that into 5 pillars or principles that guide me. And as a not naturally organized person, I realized I needed to be organized so that I could actually live this beautiful life. So these are the 5 principles of beautiful living. Live light, love your home, connect often, work to live well, and thrive daily. Now, episode 78 goes into what each of these principles mean. I'll put the link to that episode in the show notes so you can really dig a little bit more into each one. But what I want you to hear today is how to get to that state where you don't think things like, oh, I need to organize my closet, or I need to organize the toys anymore. It just naturally happens in the course of your daily life. This is the goal, isn't it? This is why you listen to this podcast and other podcasts and why you follow certain people on social media. You want to live a beautiful life and you want to live it now, every day, not someday in the future after I've spent weeks and months organizing my kitchen and my pantry and my closets and bedrooms. So here's how to get there as quickly as possible. 1, get clear on what beautiful living means to you. You probably already know, in general, what makes you happy, what you look forward to. Things like hanging out with your friends, playing with your kids, talking and joking with your partner. And what else? What hobbies make you happy? What parts of your work fulfill you and make you genuinely happy to be doing? What do you like to do for other people? What fills your cup, as they say? If you're struggling with this, or if you're thinking, well, there are just hundreds of things that make me happy, how could I ever narrow it down? Well, you know what? Try watching some documentaries about people who are happy or living long, healthy lives, or read articles or a book about why Finland keeps getting the happiest country in the planet label. There are probably some nuggets in there that, like the Organizing for Beautiful Living principles, are about simplifying your daily life, right? In other words, go dive into the complexity of your work. Create new ideas, new things that will make the world better for your kids, your nieces, your nephews. Be as complex as you need to be there. But at home, keep it super simple. You don't need a complicated home chores calendar for every day of the week. You might need a complicated calendar for the experiments you're doing at work. Great, yes, be detailed about that. And if you love sewing, quilting, cooking, creating art, sure, keep detailed notes about what you've tried or about a recipe or a technique. But about your laundry, not necessary. Once you've got a sense of what beautiful living looks like for you personally, even a loose one, write it down somewhere and share it with your family, because the choosy filter that we're building here is a whole lot more powerful when the people that you live with understand what you're all going for. Okay? 2, you don't have to own everything. I mean, do I have to say more? Okay, well, yes, I do want to say a little more because this is just a little bit nuanced. You know, you don't have to own one of everything to live your life. You don't need to own a pair of every type of sneaker ever made. No, you choose the 1 or 2 pairs, or 20 or 30 if shoes are your thing. You choose the pairs that make sense for you, for the space available in your home, your lifestyle, and your needs. Okay, sure. But you're also remembering that you need to take care of those shoes. They need space to be stored. They need to support your feet. Well, same goes for everything else in your house: pots and pans, toys, charging cables. But here's the nuance that a lot of us get stuck on. Just because it's already in your house doesn't mean you have to keep it. I'm in my mom's house this week. In a drawer in her kitchen, there are 4 slightly different slicers. They're like simple mandolin slicers. She uses one of them all the time to slice onions, cucumbers, all kinds of things. So I took all 4 of them out and I asked her, "Hey Mom, why do you have 4 of these?" She just shrugged and said, "Well, I suppose maybe I couldn't find one day and I got a new one. Not sure." So then I suggested, well, we keep the one that she uses the most often in that drawer and get rid of the rest, because she has a lovely kitchen, yes, but it's small. Drawer space is at a premium. Well, her eyes just went wide at that suggestion, and I realized she'd never considered getting rid of the duplicates because, well, they were in her house already. The thought of getting rid of something she owned sort of didn't make sense to her. Why was I suggesting that when these things cost money? And what if the one that she has breaks? Now, I'm sure you've had the same thoughts come up when you've found duplicates of something. A large part of my job is helping people to understand and see that this is happening to them in their homes. They're keeping things, not just duplicates, by the way, but all kinds of things that they don't currently need, but they're reluctant to get rid of those because what if? Or it costs money. The help I provide is to help them see what could make sense for them. Now, everyone is different in how they resolve this. But what comes from asking the question is for them to have their eyes be opened. Hey, I am choosing to keep all of these things instead of, well, I have them here, so I guess they'll just stay here, right? That shift from passive keeping to active choosing is a big part of how a natural choosy filter develops. All right? 3, simplify your everyday life in your home. At the beginning of this episode, I asked, what is your home actually for? Is it about having a space to play with your kids? Or is it about having a beautiful show home to go all out with big blowout dinner parties very often? Now, there's no right answer. There's just your answer. And then you simplify your home so it supports that. And so it supports you doing your work, whatever work you're doing for the world. And so it supports your kids going to school, their growth, and it supports nourishing your family in a healthy way. That's about it, right? So what supports those desires? Do you need to keep 12 sets of sheets if there are 4 beds in your home? Do you need 18 puzzles, 42 board games, and 18 black t-shirts? Those are real questions, and maybe the answer is yes. But what I want you to do is answer the question of what do you or we, talking about your family, need to keep in our house by thinking specifically about what would make daily life here as simple as it could be. What is the bare minimum you need to do or to own to still have a space to play with your kids? Or to have your blowout dinner parties? Do you need to do laundry every day maybe? Do you need to own 40 settings of dishes? Or can you rent and thrift when it comes time to have a party? Do you need only 4 puzzles maybe that you rotate through, then trade with family members or friends, or you check some out from the library? When you figure out that baseline, that bare minimum that you need to own and do on a daily basis, what you're doing is simplifying the stuff you have to do at home, the chores. So you'll have more space and time to do the things that you actually want. You see that? Okay, 4, accept uniforms. So clothing trips me up a lot. I've gained weight and my weight has shifted. And in the midst of all that, clothing doesn't fit me the same way as it did a year or 2 ago. When clothes don't fit right, that can be a big hit on your confidence, can't it? So what do? Well, you could hide under the covers and grieve your old body. And you know what? It is okay to do that for a bit. It's a real change in our lives. But after that, of course, work on your health and also spend some time going to find what looks good on your body right now. It's not a bad idea to hire a stylist that you trust. Or if you think you can do this yourself, then go ahead and find a formula that fits your new body shape. What shape of pants, skirts, and dresses works for you? Just one shape to start with, okay? I think you should just start with finding one pair of pants that fits you well, that you love the shape of, even if you have to alter some part of it to make it work. Let's just look at this step by step for a minute, okay? If you find a stylist that you want to hire to help you with this, you'll make life so much easier for yourself. But if that's not in the cards for you, then go to a store or a couple of stores. A physical store. Don't try to do this all online. You'll drive yourself crazy. So choose a few styles and a few sizes to try on. The number doesn't matter. Just try on a bunch of sizes. Have someone at the store help you with this too if you want. Try these pants on with the knowledge that you will probably need to alter some part of those pants. I now approach every pair of pants as something that will need to be altered to fit me. Because think about it. Are we all the same shape? Even if our waist or hip size is equal numerically, we're different heights. Our torso and leg shapes are different. The exact same pair of pants is going to fit each person differently. So plan on minor alterations like taking in the waistband or shortening the length. If something requires major alterations to make it fit you, well then it might not be worth it, but you can decide that. And if a pair of pants right from the rack fits you perfectly, count your blessings, do a happy dance, and buy it immediately, right? So you find one pair of pants that fits you well, looks good, is comfortable and washable at home, is made of quality fabric, all the characteristics that, are important to you. Then, as you modify your wardrobe to fit the reality of your body today, you look for other pants with the same silhouette, the same shape. Do the same for a skirt and a dress. Then move on to a type of top that you can enjoy wearing often and that you can use for various outfits. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of capsule wardrobes, which are intended to let you own a limited number of pieces of clothing and then you mix and match to make different outfits. What I'm saying is not exactly that, not a capsule wardrobe, but choose a limited number of styles that you're confident fit you well and that you enjoy wearing every day. What you'll have then is pretty much a uniform of not exactly the same thing every day, but similar enough that you won't be second guessing yourself every single morning when you're trying to get out the door. And then, of course, change things up for going out to dinner or on vacations or for special events. But accepting uniforms for every day makes dressing easier while still, looking good and feeling good. And it makes getting dressed faster too, so you're freeing up time for other things, for beautiful living. And 5, focus on sleep. So this might feel like an unexpected one, but stay with me. It's just amazing, really. But think about it. Good sleep is the basis for everything: your mood, your health, how you interact with other people. And yet it's so hard to get good sleep and enough sleep. Our culture is largely built on speed and quantity. We're expected to do a lot in as little time as possible. And our kids are taught the same thing at school. Homework has to get done. The school day is long and it starts quite early for most kids. We adults are expected to work long hours, if not at the office, then from home. And then we want to spend some time with our families, some time on ourselves. And we just try to cram everything in before we let ourselves sleep. Whereas ideally, we'd schedule our sleep first on our calendars and then schedule everything else around that. How turned around we are. But yes, I just said that choosy organizing for beautiful living is very much dependent on your sleep, the quantity and quality of it. And I realize that this isn't something that gets perfectly solved. We can't just hit pause on all of our responsibilities while we're figuring out our sleep patterns. When we have kids and aging parents who need our care, all bets are off. Our sleep is interrupted and cut short all the time. I know this. But string together a number of weeks of good sleep and watch how your outlook changes and also what you do with your time changes. We make better decisions about everything when we're rested, really rested, including what we want to keep and what we want to let go of in our homes to stay organized. Sleep is the foundation underneath all 5 of these ideas. When you're rested, clarity comes more easily. That natural choosy filter we've been talking about, it works a whole lot better when you're not running on empty or you're just running on coffee. Okay, so let's come back to where we started today. I asked you at the top of this episode, what is your home actually for? And I want to come back to that now because after everything we've talked about, maybe the answer is a little bit different than it was. When you know what your home is for and you can name it and you can share it with your family, the 5 things that we covered today, getting clear on what beautiful living means to you specifically, recognizing that you don't have to own everything and that owning something isn't the same as choosing to keep it, simplifying your everyday home life down to what actually supports the life that you want, accepting a wardrobe uniform so your mornings are faster and your confidence is steady, and protecting your sleep, gosh darn it, because without that foundation, everything else is harder. So when you know what your home is for, these 5 things stop feeling like a list of things to tackle. They become just a way of seeing and being and doing things. These aren't 5 separate projects, right? They're 5 expressions of the same thing. Knowing what you're living for and letting your home support that. And here's what I love the most about this. Once you've got that clarity, it spreads. You'll share it. I explained this to my husband and my kids, and they develop, like I said, their own versions of it, their own choosy filters that fit their own lives right now. That's not an accident. Clarity really is contagious in the best possible way. You don't have to have everything figured out here to start. You just have to start asking the question, what is my home actually for? Go from there. That's enough to get you to start organizing for beautiful living. Listen, if this episode clicked for you, I'd really love for you to go back and listen to episode 78. Stop saying sorry for the mess, 5 principles of beautiful living for your home. That episode goes deeper into each of the 5 beautiful living principles that we touched on today. And it's a great companion to what we covered here. So I'll put the link right in the show notes for you, okay? And if you know someone who's stuck in the, well, I'll get organized someday loop, someone who just hasn't quite connected the idea of what their home is actually for, please send her this episode. That one idea alone could shift something for her, and she'll know that you love her. You're thinking of her. Have a beautifully organized week. I'm Z, and I'll see you on the next episode.